Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? My name is attorney Charles Zavala. I'm an immigration lawyer here in beautiful Houston, Texas, but we can help you no matter where you are. So this video is going to be about immigration. It's going to be more specifically about a work visa or business immigration. But even then, we're going to look at what's a better visa option, H-1B or a TN visa. And I'll briefly go through them a little bit, explaining what they are, and I will tell you which one I think is best. I think there is one clear winner if you qualify. So if you like our videos, like, comment, subscribe, or if you need help, we can help you no matter where you are in the USA, or even if you're abroad. We have over 10 years experience. Check out our reviews. We're proud of what we do. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. If somebody wants to come to the USA to work, they need permission, right? They need what's called a visa, and there's different types of visas. There's H-1B, H-2B, H-2A, L-1, TN, a bunch of different type of visas. So what we need to do is we need to see if this person, which visa do they qualify for? Because they're not all the same. It's not that you can apply for all of them. Each of them kind of has different little characteristics of each. So there's one that a lot of people use. It's called the H-1B. Okay, and this is going to be mostly for professional occupations, which means you have to have a bachelor's degree or higher. This is a visa that applies to anyone in the world. There's some exclusions when it comes to country, but it generally tends to be most countries. This visa, I'm not a very big fan of. And the reason why is there is a limit on how many of these visas they can give out every year, right? There's something called what's called a cap. And this is the reason why there is a cap is because Congress wants to make sure that we don't bring in too many foreign workers and eliminate jobs for people here in the USA. But in my opinion, the number of visas they allow every year is just way too small to ever affect that. So that is one big issue I have with the H-1B. And I'll explain to you also the TN visa. But first, H-1B, so it has to be a professional occupation. You are subject to that cap. And the process can take a while. It can take anywhere between 3 to 6 months. Or if you do premium processing, it can be a little faster, but it's going to cost more money. Long story short, what you have to do is, since this visa, there's an annual cap, every year it's kind of like an open season, right? So H-1B season opens up. As an employer, you have to go in, sign up, apply. If you are chosen, you can now move on to the next step. And that's where the problem is. Because there's a cap, not everyone gets chosen. But fast forward. Next, you need to go to the Department of Labor, and you need to essentially get a certification from the Department of Labor. And for that, you have to submit paperwork. You have to make sure that you're going to pay these employees the right amount of money, all that stuff. Once you get that approval from the Department of Labor, you can now move over to USCIS and you file what's called an I-129. That takes multiple months for them to approve. If all goes well, you get approved, and then you can go to your consulate in your home country, get your visa, and you get to come in. You can also bring your family members. That would be your spouse and your children as what's called dependents. So in theory, the H-1B is a great visa, right? It does exactly what it's meant to do. The only problem is there's just way too many people who apply, and there's not enough visa to go around for everyone. So we work with a lot of companies where we apply, and unfortunately we're not chosen, or sometimes we are chosen. So it's kind of tough when it comes to that, right? So H-1B is definitely something you can look into, but it's not a slam dunk like a lot of people think, or a viable option depending on what kind of career you do. So I want to compare it to something called the TN visa, and I'm a little biased. So like I said, I'm a little biased on the TN visa because we handle a lot of TN visas in our office, but a TN visa is also a work visa, which allows you to come to the USA, live and work here. The only difference with the TN visa is you have to be either a Mexican or Canadian citizen. Right? That doesn't mean you have to have been born there. I mean, if you got your citizenship later, that's okay. But you do need to be a Mexican or a Canadian citizenship. And this TN visa came to be with the NAFTA agreement, right? This was an agreement that the USA, Canada, and Mexico made. And the idea was that, look, we should kind of help each other because we're neighbors. So they created this visa to kind of allow a workflow of employment in the USA. So what I like about the TN visa, remember, first you have to be from Canada or Mexico, but they tend to mostly be professional jobs, right? And not every career qualifies. You need to look at there's an online list, or we got some videos where we post the type of jobs that qualify for the TN visa. You have to have a degree, And it has to be one of those professions. Most of those professions will require you to have some sort of collegiate degree, but there are some that can be based off solely work experience. So you need to be from Canada or Mexico. You need to have one of those professions. And the most important thing is you need to have a company in the USA who's willing to sponsor you, right? This is not a work visa where you can sponsor yourself. So you need a company in the USA who's going to sponsor you. So for example, Jerry the Giraffe is from Mexico. He's a civil engineer, and there's a company in the USA who does civil engineering who wants to hire him. Perfect candidate. What's great about the TN visa versus the H-1B is the TN visa does not have a limit on how many they can give every year. So that means if a lot of people apply and they're all eligible and they all get approved, they all get approved. You don't have to fight for visas like you will do with the H-1B and the H-2B, which I think is very, very important. And that's probably the biggest reason why I do not like to do the H-1B, because you are fighting with other people for that, okay? So with the TN visa, you also get great perks. Your husband or wife or your spouse, they can come live with you in the USA. They cannot work, but they can study. Same with your children. They cannot work, but they can study. The TN visa is also going to be valid for up to 3 years. You can keep on renewing it as long as you're working for the same employer, or if you change companies, that's not a problem. As long as you qualify again, you can apply for the TN visa. So we handle a lot of TN visas here. I mean, we are located in Texas, so we do have a lot of Mexican clientele, but we also deal with a lot of people from Canada. So if this is something that you're potentially interested in as an employer, as an employee, this is an option I really would recommend that you all exercise. We do a lot of videos about the TN visa, explaining it, asking questions. So we handle a lot of TN visas. And one thing you need to consider also with the TN visa, it tends to be a lot faster than the H-1B. We can get you an appointment between 2 to 3 months, and that's a big takeaway, because sometimes when employers offer you a job, they don't want to wait 6 months. They don't want to wait 7 months, right? So the sooner we can get you that visa, we can get you there, right? So feel free to give us a call. My name is Attorney Charles Zavala. All appointments are with me via the phone. I'm more than happy to help you. We speak English and Spanish, and we're here to assist you in any way we can. Thank you, and I hope you all have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.